Good evening, dear friends and dear guests, Mr. Ambassador, and our guests of today's panel. It is a pleasure for me to welcome you at the National Gallery of Art as friends, because AlbumArte and people who are connected with AlbumArte, we know from years ago, because our collaboration started several years ago, and I know myself, as I visited the place, also the interest of the institution in Lithuanian women artists' work, which was presented there, and some of our most outstanding contemporary women artists and curators collaborated there, and I had also a pleasure to have, to be present at the talk, which was organized there. So tonight, it is our pleasure to present the publication, which sums up, I believe, almost 10 years, right, of the work of the institution. Interestingly, the National Gallery of Art, despite our great title, is also almost the same, old as 10 years, or a few years older than the book covers here. So I believe we will have some interesting talks and conversations and find out more about contemporary Italian art practices. We will have the possibility to watch also, videos, and I am more than happy to first of all introduce Benedetta Carpi de Resmini, who was a co-curator of a beautiful, magnificent exhibition which was called Magma, together with Laima Kreivytė, and I hope, Benedetta, you will continue further to moderate our event.
Thank you.
Yeah, you can keep it like that, because everybody hears it. It's just not a record on the camera.
Okay. Thank you very much, and thank you, Lolita. Thank you for hosting us on the event of AlbumArte here, the presentation of all BOOM ARTE. Actually, the title was created by an artist, Eugenio De Luca, which is also inserted here. But by the way, I'm not. I am on behalf of Cristina Cobianchi, which is the head of AlbumArte, and in 10 years, actually our 10 years of history of this independent space, she gathered together a big community. So, but first of all, I would like to, I'm not very good in the acknowledgement, but I would like to thank the Italian Council, which made this big book possible, the Directorate of Contemporary Creativity, the Italian Ministry of Culture. And mainly I would like to thank the community of AlbumArte, which made this, I would like to call it this long novel possible. It's actually a novel which started in 2010 in Istanbul, and with a wonderful exhibition of Flavio Favelli. And but this story is about really a big community. And I've been asked quite a few weeks ago, what represents for you AlbumArte? And I told immediately, for me AlbumArte is women. Is a woman because expressing collectivity and expressing creativity. And this is really a way of defining for me AlbumArte. And talking about collectivity and inclusiveness, I would like to involve the two artists that are here, Grossi Maglioni, Vera Maglioni and Francesca Grossi, who made a wonderful exhibition in AlbumArte in 2016-17, And they started a long road with occupazioni that I believe is not ended, but it is just stopped at Kaunas for Magic Carpets Landed. So if you come here, then we can tell a little bit more about this story. And so I was talking about inclusiveness and creativity, and talking about inclusiveness and is something that recalls immediately to the idea of a duo, because you started in 2006 to work as a duo, and it was really interesting, because then you need to include the other each time you are thinking to something. And so how this idea of that, it really, I think it's something that affects your work, is related to this new work of occupazioni.
Hello. Can I take off? Okay.
Yes.
Good evening, everybody. I'm Vera. I'm Francesca. And thank you to be here. Thank you, Benedetta. And ciao, Cristina Cobianchi. She's following us.
No, we are not online. She will see the record of this evening.
Okay, so thank you, Cristina Cobianchi, to invite us in AlbumArte, first of all, and then here today. And yes, we are a duo since 2007, and in 2016 we met Cristina Cobianchi first time in Rome, at the moment of our career in which we were at an important moment of evolution, and Occupazioni was at the beginning. Occupazioni is a project about human settlement and how those human settlement can change the narrative of the space that they live. This is the first image was the press release of the show that was curated by Lidia Privisova and Gianluca Brogna. The name of the show was Campo Grossi Maglioni. That means Grossi Maglioni Camp. So a place where we could experiment, because our identity as an artist, as a duo, as someone that is in a continuous dialogue between us, between the space, between the audience, between the institution, is something that characterize our works, but also AlbumArte identity, because AlbumArte is an independent space connected with the municipality, with the city, with the artists, with the audience, in a way that it's always experimental, free, and open, collaborative, and so that type of energy characterize also all the experience we had together. So this is this picture represents the three main projects we have presented in AlbumArte. AlbumArte is a very huge space, so we had the opportunity to experiment three huge projects. The first was connected to the experimentation between magic and illusionistic as a way to improve, experiment the possibility of performance and connective works. And the second one was, this is the magic part, for example, because actually the space of AlbumArte is divided in three ambients, and one was dedicated to the relationship between magic, illusionistic, performance, music. And another one was dedicated to the Lo Sguardo che Offende project, so the gaze that offends is the translation of this title, and it is a provocative title. That means that when we watch something in a certain way, we can actually modify, punch, offense, reshape the object of observation. And the object of our observation was the landscape. So the main topic of the project was the relationship between human and landscape. And this is, for example, the target kids, and those 3 bags. This is the sound that offends.
Yes.
So, for example, every art piece we bring in AlbumArte were modifiable by the audience. So everything was a device. Those bags were filled of targets that we can use with the audience in a workshop in order to modify this cloud of targets. And this is.
I was like willing to ask how those elements are related to what you created after the.
You have to wait just 2 minutes, and we will explain everything.
Everything, okay. Yeah, I'm curious.
For example, this is a book that explains the training that you can do with your body in order to improve your ability to offense, to modify what you're watching. And this is inside the book there is also a mask. There was a mask that you could use. And so that was the main things, to do something modifiable, reshapeable, that we can use always and change every time in AlbumArte. The shows was 3 months long, so for 3 months we had the possibility to really improve, experiment, and that is a very important thing for artists, to have so long time to do things in an experimental way.
Yes, also like a body changing continuously.
Yeah.
Yes, this is the, okay, sorry, I didn't present myself. I'm Francesca, and thank you for being here, and thank you at the museum for hosting the presentation. And now we are showing to you the drawing, the sketch of Occupazioni installation that was in the main room of AlbumArte. And the installation was changeable, was around some ropes and tents that we modify during the 3 months of the exhibition through workshop with a different group of people. The first setup of the installation was this childcare tent, because we are working also on this kind of childcare tent and on the relationship between a woman, between a mother and a creator. And this is the picture of a workshop that we have done with kids, and in which kids, a child, transform mothers in a kind of beast or monster. And after the workshop, we paint the tent with the figure of a woman overlapped to a beast, to a monster. And this is the picture of the first workshop that we have done with mixed public. The age was from 9 to 60, I don't know. And we unbuilt the space and we rebuilt the space again through some exercise that we have done in the space with the walking, and we rebuilt a kind of landscape with a village, with a nest, with trees, etc. And here you are seeing picture of a workshop that we did with the students of the Academy of Fine Art. With them, we have the possibility to do a workshop 1 week long, and it was really precious for us, and also thanks to AlbumArte that opened the door for 1 week to a group of students. And with them we realized optical weapon, and then we used the optical weapon for a performance that was a battle of gaze between the students. And together we realized this installation that is called Target Forest. It was a forest of mirini, of target. And at the end, the last workshop was with a group of women, and we built a kind of a tent, assembly tent, and this was the last configuration of the space. So for us, it was really important to have the possibility to change the space, the space to explore. With the workshop here at the very end for the finissage came an artist. The name is Per Utner. That we work with him, and Karima Nusser, that is a dancer, and there was a last performance. And after AlbumArte, now we are still working on occupazioni. So after AlbumArte, we did other workshop with kids for educational program. Here we were working on thinking new village where kids, where people can live together, and then we were invited by Benedetta and by Magic Carpet to participate to the Magic Carpet residency, and we went to Novi Sad in Serbia, and there we work on this tent, this camp, and we worked on a carpet, and behind the tent we host several meetings, and we develop a story that is about occupazioni. So from AlbumArte we develop a story that is based on the changement of the space of AlbumArte, and we are still working on this story. Here we are discussing in another workshop performance the gender of the main protagonist, that is a child, that now we are calling also creator, and here there is a scene of the story that is the battle of gaze, and those are puppets, and this is the book that the small one is in paper, and it was the Novi Sad book, but now the work is really on dialogue and on text, and we are changing every word. So we realize the last book is now in textile, and it's not the last one, maybe.
And it's presented in Kaunas.
And it's presented now in Kaunas.
I will show you the last configuration of this occupazioni project that is now in Kaunas, but first I want to again remark how important was for us to have AlbumArte as how can I say, a gymnastic
training.
A training, no?
Actually, sorry to interrupt you, but I was like thinking, you defined AlbumArte quite a huge space. Actually, it's not so huge, and I would really define it like a cozy space, like a house, and probably this influenced the shape of the space somehow, occupazioni.
Totally.
Yeah.
In fact, the main installation is designed like, like a house roof, a capanna.
Yes,
A shelter. And also AlbumArte is a cozy place, a place where we can come also, and we are welcome also with our child, with our family, and with our friends. And when we are in AlbumArte, we felt home. This is for sure, for sure.
Yeah.
And like it's for us, it's for many other artists in Rome that are independent, like we are. Because not only the space, but also the artists can be independent, because we have no galleries. We don't belong to a commercial field. Not for a choose, just because it happened. And so we need space like this in order to really improve and experiment our practice. And do you say that it's not big? For us,
it's huge, okay. But actually it's a second home also for Lithuanian artists, because I mean we've done, as Lolita was mentioning, a lot of exhibition there, and somehow Eglė, Budvytytė, Cristina Cobianchi, and all the artists, even Lina Laperite, when she came, she found the place like really strong, with the attitude of independence through the art scene. So yes.
And if you wanna, I can show you more about Occupazioni.
Yes, and you
out of AlbumArte.
And you briefly, shortly,
yeah.
Finish your talk,
yeah,
because
yeah,
we
yeah.
need to have like 40 minutes of video.
So that's will be very quick, very short, because so after AlbumArte was clear that we were writing a story, because all the configuration of the space have shaped a real story, the story of two protagonists, a child and a mother. And the mothers, during the transformation of the space, transform also herself in a beast. And the child escape and has a long story, and several things happen in the story of this child. And this picture show an exhibition in Bratislava last winter, in which we presented two scenes of the story. The Beast Mother cave, so the child care tent has become a cave, huge cave, and the observing child perspective. The observing child is this child on the carpet. And the book that was a little book have become a huge book, because every page is now 3 meters square.
Yes,
page
3 meter
square.
length.
Yeah, tenth of 3 meters each one, and every tenth tell one chapter of the story. So this is, for example, one of the tenth, that tell about the cave, where the mothers and the child. 1 minute, and then again. This is another chapter in Graz, in Rotor, where we built another tent with the carpet, and in the end, Kaunas. Yes. And that on Saturday we will have we will lead a workshop with kids in order to reshape this installation. So with kids we will modulate the space, the pillows and the tents in order to reenact the story with kids.
Yeah, so reshaping again.
Reshaping again. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I believe we can go on with a selection of videos. There will be a selection of 6 videos between Italian and Lithuanian artists. I mentioned the Lithuanian artists, Eglė, Budvytytė, and Cristina Cobianchi, who did the 2 exhibitions very big because they were also having a part of the exhibition in Maxi, which is the Museum of Contemporary Art in Rome. And then you will see a selection of other Italian artists, Rita Mandolini, Silvia Giambrone, and others that you will see. So thank you, and if you can.
Intravedo delle piccole gocce di sudore. Posso percepire l'odore della tua paura. Ma devi capire che la minaccia non è esterna. Alberga proprio nel tuo corpo. Scorre sotto la tua pelle, all'interno del tuo sistema nervoso. Marco, mi stai ascoltando? Dove sei ora?
Apie tai, kad mūsų miestelėje iš slaugos ligoninės dingo pacientas, buvo išspausdinta pačiame vietos naujienų puslapio viršuje. Paskutinį kartą senuką ir jo slaugytoją žmonės matė išvakarėse po 5 valandos. Iki to laiko 5 pradinukai prie palatos kreidelėmis piešė senuko eskizus. Jie paskutiniai jį ir matė, vėliau niekas. Tai buvo rašoma laikraščio straipsnėje. Nes nuaidėjus 6 valandos sirenai, slaugytojas uždaro duris ir žmonės patekti į vidų nebegali. Penki pradinukai visi kaip vienas liudijo, kad nei senukas, nei slaugytojas netrodė keisti. Pacientas kaip visada nuolankiai stovėjo palatos viduryje, retkarčiais į šalis pamataruodamas galvą ir kartais palaimingai primerkdamas susiraukšlėjusias akis. Buvo toks senas, kad vos judėjo, o žmonės, kurie pirmą kartą jį pamatydavo, net sunerimdavo, ar tik nekris čia pat ant žemės ir neišleis paskutinio kvapo. Paciento slaugytojas irgi buvo senukas. Liesas mažas senukas. Tikslaus jo amžiaus nežinau. Galvos įžengęs į 70, o gal jau bebaigiantis 8. Pasaulyje esama žmonių, kurių išvaizda peržengus tam tikrą ribą nustoja priklausyti nuo amžiaus, o jis ir buvo vienas iš tokių. Slaugytojas nuo pat ryto iki vakaro be paliovos rūpinosi senuku. Apie tai, kad jų santykiai labai draugiški, galėjai suprasti iš menkiausių judesių ir žvilgsnių. Kai vienoje vietoje ramiai stypsantis senukas slaugytojas panorėdavo pavydėti kitur, jam tereikėdavo atsistoti prie paciento, delnu švelniai patapšnoti koją ir kažką sušnibždėti. Tada senukas sunkiai ir lėtai linguodamas pereidavo į nurodytą vietą, o kai ten įsitaisydavo, vėl taip pat įsistebeilydavo į vieną tašką. Esu paskutinis matęs tą senuką kompiuterio ekrane, stebėjimo kamerų įrašytose vaizduose. Jį mačiau tą vakarą po 7. Kartais stebėdavau senuką palatoje. Jeigu kas paklaustų, kam reikėjo taip vargintis, negalėčiau atsakyti. Tik norėjau žiūrėti į senuką ir būtent tada, kai jis vienas. Svaresnių priežasčių nebuvo. Pirmiausia, mane nustebino tai, kad pacientas ir slaugytojas, kai pastate likdavo vieni, atrodė dar artimesni nei prie kitų. Tai supratau iš karto, vos pamatęs paprasčiausius jų judesius. Net pamaniau, kad dieną jie nuo žmonių akių slepia artumą ir dėmesingai taupo jausmus, atsideda jos vakarui, kai liks vienodu. Bet tai nereiškia, kad jie darydavo ką nors ypatingą. Senukas toliau kiurksodavo, o slaugytojas tiesiog atlikdavo įprastus priežiūros darbus. Jį nuplaudavo, iškuopdavo ekskrementus, sutvarkydavo maisto likučius. Bet pro akis niekaip nepraslydo ypatinga šiluma, kurią skleisdavo juodu siejantis pasitikėjimas vienas kitu. Kai slaugytojas valydavo grindis, senukas palinguodavo galvą ir švelniai patapšnodavo jam per nugarą. Man patikdavo žiūrėti, kaip senukas tai daro. Ta dingimo vakarą senukas ir jo slaugytojas darė tą patį, ką ir visada. Valėsi, valgė, bandė draugiškai pakvailioti. Bet man užkliuvo pusiausvyra. Kitaip tariant, dydžių pusiausvyra. Na, senuko ir jo slaugytojo kūnų dydžių. Pasirodė, kad ta pusiausvyra truputį kitokia nei visada. Tarsi paciento ir jo slaugytojo kūnų dydžio skirtumas būtų buvęs mažesnis nei įprastai. Tąkart pagalvojęs, kad gal man vaidenasi, kelis kartus užmerkiau akis, papurčiau galvą, bet senuko dydis vis tiek nekito. Tikrai jis atrodė mažesnis. Iš pradžių net pamaniau, kad į ligoninės palatą įsikėlė naujas, mažesnis senyvas pacientas. Bet tokių kalbų nebuvau girdėjęs, tad liko viena vienintelė mintis. Dėl kažkokių neaiškių priežasčių senukas staiga susitraukė. Be to, geriau įsižiūrėjęs pamačiau, kad to mažesnio senuko judesiai visiškai tokie patys kaip ir ankstesniojo. Prausiamas iš džiaugsmingai trepsėjo dešinę koją ir truputį mažesnė ranka tapšnojo slaugytojų nugarą. Vaizdas buvo keistas. Apėmė jausmas, kad ligoninės viduje sruvena kitas neramus laikas. Ir man atrodė, kad senukas ir slaugytojas su džiaugsmu atsiduoda tai naujai permainai, kuri ruošiasi juos įtraukti. O gal jau kiek nors ir įtraukia? Senuko palatą stebėjau ne ilgiau nei pusvalandį. Po to apsaugos kameros išsijungė. Tai buvo paskutinis kartas, kai jį mačiau. Išgyvenus senuko dingimą kartais net apimdavo jausmas, kad daiktai aplinkui praranda prigimtinį teisingą dydį. ko gero tai tik haliucinacijos.
Mediterraneo, 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 Mediterraneo.
So, after this, I believe, really powerful videos, we will have a brief discussion with Laima. Thank you, Laima, for accepting our invitation, my invitation. And I would like to underline that all the videos were, made by artists who are, part of this big community of AlbumArte, or they did the show. And I would like also to underline that the video of Cristina Cobianchi is now at the Kaunas Biennial, and is one of the most recent artwork, video piece that she made. Oh, it's not working, sorry, it's my fault. Yeah, so I believe that these videos are like related one to the other. from, even if they've made in really different period, starting from 2012, the one of Silvia Giambrone, and the last one, the most recent one, is the one of Cristina Cobianchi, has really a red thread that links all the video. That is related to the idea of isolation, of sinking somehow, and of balance. So I would like to know from you, Laima, if what you find in common of these videos, and if you can add something to maybe even to not only to the Lithuanian videos, but also to the other videos that we've seen this evening.
Thank you, Benedetta, for inviting me to this talk, and it was very interesting to watch the videos. And you mentioned already this theme of sinking, which is related with refugees and Mediterranean Sea, and bodies which are like outcasts. But I also saw a certain gender perspective, of course, and even something which I experienced during the time when we were preparing Magma exhibition and visiting Italian artists of all the generation, like Tommaso being in her studio. This importance of language and how you use language. For example, there was this video where letters were thrown in the sea.
Of Elena Bellantoni.
Yes, and also this last video where this Mediterranean, like this Mediterranean was repeated. So you see, it's not only visual language, but it's language. This
it's like a mantra, I would say.
Yes, like mantra, but at the same time, language is present.
Yes,
it's very important on the conceptual level. So this visual and textual are coming together. And also, of course, gender relationship in the sense that of course, Eglė Budvytytė, she said in her interviews that she wanted to emphasize the fragility of those men, so they were not doing something very strong or heroic or taking the space. They were rather following the orders and then being like really submissive in a way. But also, Benedetta, you mentioned that you saw the difference of like comparing those performances in Vilnius and in Rome. Could you please tell your impression? I thought it's a very valuable observation.
Yeah, I was telling to Laima when we saw the video of the performance in Rome that was really different from the one it was made here in Vilnius, because I mean you can feel the fragility of the man, of the running man, but here in Vilnius was really related also to the historical part, to the, I mean, collapsing of an area, of an era, and of a period. And somehow this idea, this fragility, you don't get it. Is in Italy, is completely different. You can really more focus on the fragility of this figure, of the man, who is like trying to follow some rules, but somehow they cannot. Somehow they are like weak. Somehow they are not present.
It is interesting because you mentioned also that in Vilnius they were all sort of more or less young and blonde.
Yes, I was telling you that all in Vilnius, yes, they were.
So to me it resonated with this I don't know, almost this racist something, this
ideal type or like areas. It's just like I thought that maybe it was conscious decision to choose this sort of stereotypical, in a way, this is this whiteness or something. And then in Italy, of course, these men, they were more diverse in terms of age and complexion and skin color. So perhaps the messages were in that respect different, like, and they resonated differently.
Yes, probably you are totally right. Of course, the idea of giving also back what is the place where it was made, the performance in Rome, has a central role in this decision, probably. Because I think that, should have been facing what is Rome nowadays, is a melting pot, is really gathering together different voices, actually, as AlbumArte is doing.
Yes, another topic, of course, and you mentioned, is the female body, and it's a very interesting selection of films from that point of view, because you have bodies pushed to the extremes, and the oldest video by Silvia Giambroni, the one with kind of where a surgeon embroids that collar, this beautiful laced collar on her body, really. It reminded me a video by Estonian artists, Mari Läänemets and Kilu Sukmit, where they also did themselves some embroidery with threads on the palm of the hand. So, was it similar in a way to Budvytytė, in a sense that you have certain gender relationship? Of course, there is this professional surgeon, but you see that this is like male hands, and then they are sort of beautifying this body, but then this body must be beautiful, like Marina Abramović, artist must be beautiful, art must be beautiful. And then you have this male running, choreographed by a female artist, and really you feel like something is changing. You can, of course, expand, you can go away from...
There is a shift, I believe, from the idea of this woman that is representing what we were in the past. We were forced to be at home, good woman, good housewife, and we very well dressed with this very how do you call it?
Laced.
Yes, raised and embroidered. Clothes, and but at the same time there is this figure of the male that is so there is but at the same time this figure of the male is very focused on what he's doing. Of course it was a chirurgeon, but at the same time the gaze of her is can hold and can be more powerful than the hand of the doctor is doing. So I think that there is a shift of like changing, and then you can feel really the strength of female of her body. And so is something that is, as I was telling you, of swifting, changing, and also is a matter of like balancing.
Yes, and she was present on the screen, and then he was not, only his hands, so in a way this position was different. But also interesting that the newest video by Cristina Cobianchi, is actually moving from this, how to say, oppositions, like this tense relationship between sexes as some kind of binary opposition, and really talking about something different, talking about age, about the relationship of two elderly men who are taking care of each other. And then the story, we don't know the story, we don't know the context. Is this just like care? Was it the story before something? What is the end of the story? We don't know. The old man disappeared, and also the nurse, that another man who took care of him. So it's interesting. It's a new way of, maybe not that new, but it's also a different perspective. Maybe we are a bit tired of this battle of sexes, and then constantly trying to find that balance, that of power, which is very difficult to achieve. Maybe really it's time to look at specific stories, specific circumstances and situations, and maybe also to think about other things which sometimes seems even more urgent, like, for example, especially in Lithuania, if we compare two cultures here, I think in Italy there is much more space and recognition of elderly people than in Lithuania. I think elderly people in Lithuania, they are just invisible. They are not very much present in the public space, and yeah, generally they should just more or less disappear. And in this video, there was this cruel joke by a Lithuanian writer who said something like this: people often ask how old people are supposed to live, and they don't ask why are they supposed to live. It's just like, it's funny in this dark black sense of humor, but in a way, it is like that sometimes, and it's hard. It's heartbreaking.
Yeah, you're right, and I cannot add anything else after your last thought, because it's really powerful. What you said is really related, probably, and is not. I mean, it's not casual that is made in after COVID, this video. So really it's about where are we going, probably, and this big question mark is underlined all this video somehow, even if these videos are made, I mean, before COVID. So
yeah, I think it's a good question to address the audience if somebody wants maybe to reflect on something, or to ask, or just to say a comment, or I don't know, about what you saw and how you seen it, or just simply
add. Yes, open to questions.
If there are questions.
If there are. Paulina.
No, that's okay. It's just like it's not always easy to come from this specific mode of thinking through images, moving images, and then to this speaking mode. But I think what you said, that it is this underlying question, where are we going, especially in those times of pandemic, and when everything, it seems like our time and space just lost its usual feeling and characteristic. It's just like totally, and it seems like at some point it was stretching, like we were sort of on hold, but the tension was rising, and now what's happening now, it feels like everything comes together, like events on events, and like we're living in a very strange time of some kind of spatial and I don't know,
and even politically situation is really like
not to speak about Lukashenko behind the border.
Yes,
Let's not speak about him.
let's not speak, but
Yeah.
okay.
Yes, please.
You want
Please
maybe
take the mic.
take the mic?
Yeah.
Maybe there is a connection between the thing that you said about words, about text, no? That is, the text, the words are really present on those videos, and then you talk about solitude, no? But it's also interesting because the words are the way, the language is the way in which we relate to the other, is the place of a relationship in some way. So there is also a way to stay with other through language. I don't know. What do you think about?
Yeah, at least we should talk. That is the basic thing. It's just very difficult to stay on your own, to stay isolated and to live with your thoughts and not share them. So, yeah, I guess in a way that's why this video of like really throwing words, throwing those letters as some kind of material objects, is it some kind of waste, dead bodies? Are those letters dead bodies? I felt it's powerful because we are overwhelmed by images of really like dying children, and then we become really nothing affects us anymore. So sometimes maybe we need to change it and really to again go to certain conceptual, post-conceptual, like really textual art, visual poetry, and to relate through texts. So I agree with you, and on that human level to speak at least.
Yes, I totally agree, and yes, I mean the video of Elena Bellantoni that you were mentioning is really related to this idea of like connecting closely the body to the words, and is like somehow sewing the words to the body, like it was, I mean, it wasn't sewing the words to the body, but somehow the past to the body of Silvia Giambrone. So
it was connected through the thread.
Through the thread.
It was still this live thread, this still
Yes.
Ariadne thread or something, whatever. This like thread which we have with our bodies when like the baby is born. But I guess we should just like let you think about it and
then,
and thank you for your attention.
Yes.
We are already speaking together.
So yeah, ready for maybe another project. Who knows?
Yeah. So thank you for being with us.
Thank you for being with us, and thank you, Lolita, for hosting us. And I would like to address a thank you to Cristina Cobianchi, who, I mean, made this possible, and this big book, I mean, thick book, which gathers together, like this colors, colored page tells, a big community. So, see you. Thank you.
And thank you, the Italian ambassador, who also visited and
yes,
connected our cultures together.
Yes.
I want to add just one word.
Yes.
Yes, could you please speak to the microphone so it would be...
Funny, because it was rather an experience. First, I have to thank you for explaining us your experience, because this was a short but very concise but very intense story of what you have done. So I was able to understand what was your research and work, and I was impressed, you know, from the continuity that you were able to give on different places with different people to your story. And so you are kind of storyteller going in different towns, and it's amazing because you can, through you can put in contact people of different towns, different cultures. So thank you. And I think that the artist role is exactly to connect people and to be like a shaman. You know, nowadays we have lost religion, rituals, and continuity with the past. And the artist has replaced somehow this person, which in the old societies were specialized on that. And you are kind of a medium through the different places. So thank you. And just one word on this very different, the question that was posed, what is united them? I would say nothing. Nothing. Because each of them had to develop his own philosophy and approach. And I was particularly shocked by the last one, no, not the last one, but actually was the last one, is the last one on this list, the balance of sizes, because it was very well organized as a story, and the images were supporting the story, rather the others was the other way around. And this story is terrible, and you were mentioning it, because in this country there is a real tragedy of people killing themselves, suicides among elders. I've just seen a different documentary. I can't say in Lithuanian, sorry, but this was I Will Stand With You, which is, has been produced again with the Italian support. This is a coincidence, but I'm now jumping from one another event, and I'm discovering in this case this project, and I know you from another project, but tonight I went to see this documentary, which also was supported by Italy. And I was with you in this Spinelli experience, or explaining her project in the museum and Gimbuta's exhibition. But the documentary which I saw was a social documentary, completely different. Well, of course, a documentary is an art, but a different kind of art, explaining how people in the rural areas are exposed to a lack of meaning of their life. And this is a little bit threatening, because I don't know now statistics, but I'm not aware of a special tendency of elders in Italy to commit suicide. I think, and you were mentioning that always difficult to make generalization, but in general, the social role of the elder is more considerate. And this, I'm not able to develop further, but I think this is something on which one should reflect, because social cohesiveness and capacity to keep with youngsters, the elders, so it's not a matter of the traditional family, it's a matter of relation between ages, not only genders, but also ages, which is another big question of our society. I will stop here, because you could, of course, develop more, but all in all, it's fascinating how through artistic gesture you can be provoked on very substantial question of your life. So thank you very much for tonight.
No, thank you for this insightful thought. Thank you for coming and for joining us, and I mean, giving these nice words also to the Italian duo Grossi Maglioni. And I don't know, you want to add something?
No, I want to thank everybody, and yes, it was a very insightful reflection, and yeah, let's continue the evening.
Yes.
Thank you very much.